With rain and gloom hovering 10 months out of the year, a warm summer afternoon in the Pacific Northwest is a much-awaited time of year. Lush forests, wildflowers, beautiful lakes, and of course the countless hiking trails leave people wanting more. But amongst the stunning scenery lies a chilling mystery, one that has captivated true crime junkies and those invested in the supernatural. But before I get into that, I just want to say thank you so much for getting my last video up to 100 views. It's really appreciated and it really keeps me going, so thank you. And now, let's get into the case. On August 20th, 2007, a Washington girl was on vacation with her family visiting BC, Canada. Upon visiting Jedediah Island, the family went to explore and just have a relaxing day. The girl then stumbled upon a blue and white Adidas sneaker and decided to investigate further. She picked up the shoe and found a sock, and in that sock was a dismembered human foot. This family then alerted the authorities, and soon after, the Canadian Mounted Police, coroners, and even the Coast Guard showed up to investigate. Thus began the intrigue as to why and how a preserved male human foot washed up ashore. 6 days later, on August 26, 2007, another male human foot, another right one, in a black and white Reebok sneaker, washed up ashore on nearby Gabriola Island. On May 22, 2008, a woman's right foot in a blue and white New Balance sneaker washed up ashore on an island near the Fraser Delta in British Columbia. It was later identified to be from a woman who jumped off a bridge in April of 2004. Then on November 11, 2008, another blue and white New Balance sneaker was found. Forensic DNA analysis indicated that it was a match to the one found on May 22nd. With these discoveries, it alarmed authorities. Though this wouldn't be the first time the public would be hearing about feet washing ashore from the Salish Sea, an inland body of water spanning nearly 500 miles from Olympia, Washington, the state's capital, to Desolation Sound in British Columbia, Canada. This has been happening since the late 1800s, but no one has really even given it a second thought, because it wasn't something that happened often, until now. Over the course of a year, from 2007 to 2008, 5 other human feet, both male and female, were discovered. This time, some of them had a match. Through DNA analysis and investigations, these feet were identified and matched to people who have gone missing. The news blew up all over the world, with headlines in Australia, the UK, and South Africa, evoking interest and speculation from people who live for true crime and morbid stories. But with more feet turning up, the less sensationalized the stories became. Was it a basic case of depression and suicide? Or was it a serial killer hiding in plain sight? In the home of the Green River Killer and Ted Bundy, this theory wasn't too far-fetched. With gray skies and rain for 10 months out of the year, the dampness of the Pacific Northwest gives morbid a whole new meaning.
Come back! Come back!
Or was this much more otherworldly, giving conspiracy theorists a new story to keep themselves entertained? With that being said, detectives were trying to find where these feet were coming from in order to identify the bodies. It's widely believed that the loss of life from multiple plane crashes in the years prior caused bodies to decompose in the waters, eventually flowing into the Sound. One of these events being a plane crash that took the lives of 5 people off Quadra Island in 2005. A small float plane belonging to MGM Beaver, an air taxi service company based in Vancouver, BC, took off from Campbell River and began its journey to a nearby logging camp on the mainland. However, this plane never arrived. It crashed into the water near Quadra Island. The body of one of the victims washed ashore, triggering an extensive search by the Canadian Navy. In an operation that was costly to the families of the missing, the others were never found. However, pieces of the plane were recovered. This event is one of the many plane crashes that could have contributed to the feet that washed up on the shores of the Pacific Northwest. Another probable theory is the Indian Ocean earthquake and the subsequent tsunami that followed. This event alone caused so much destruction and chaos and swept so many people out to sea. On December 26, 2004, at 7:58 local time, an undersea earthquake affected so many lives in a single event. The subsequent tsunami that followed would trigger a worldwide humanitarian crisis lasting many months. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, a total of 227,898 people died, and thousands of people were displaced from Southeast Asia to Africa. Many bodies that were lost at sea would have decomposed, floating away, never to be recovered. With violent storms and raging currents of the Indian Ocean, it is very likely that a number of feet that have washed up on the Salish Sea coastline belong to those who lost their lives in this event. The third theory on this list are serial killers, especially those who were active in prior years or those who were never caught. Which also leads somewhat into the Highway of Tears, this long stretch of road on Highway 16 in British Columbia, leading to the Pacific Ocean, got its name because dozens of Canadian women and girls, mostly who were natives or aboriginals, have disappeared or turned up dead. Over the past 3 decades, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police have counted over 1,200 missing Indigenous women cases nationwide. It is believed that a serial killer is on the loose and disposes of the bodies as this highway leads to the coast. Bodies may have been disposed, set adrift, decomposed, and eventually the shoes would make its way to shore. With any mysterious real-life event, you'll of course have your conspiracy theorists coming out of the woodwork to provide some sort of explanation. With more and more feet being discovered, also brought out hoaxers and clout chasers. People who would strap on bones from animals inside shoes and leaving them on the Pacific coast. One major case was near Campbell River on Vancouver Island. An animal paw was wrapped in seaweed stuffed in a sock and shoe. This discovery launched an investigation with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Others would spend hours upon hours walking miles of coastlines in search of a foot, which actually did aid in the discovery of more feet. However, the fascination to make such a discovery did not last long. With the hype dying down, scientists were able to focus on why this was happening, and thus began many scientific theories on human decomposition. Why were there only feet washing ashore? And where were the rest of the bodies? Well, the way that bodies decompose is a fascinating scientific process, especially when they happen in the ocean. The effects of what happens to a corpse depends on whether it floats or sinks. A floating body will be carried with the wind speeds and ocean currents and will eventually drift ashore. A body that has sunk, however, might remain in place or be tugged in different directions by deep-sea currents. Additionally, a dead body will sink faster in fresh water than salt water because salt water makes humans more buoyant. Percentage of body fat is also a factor, as being overweight means you'll sink at a slower rate rather than someone who's leaner. Another factor is water temperature and how deep the water is, as the rate a dead body is sinking is dependent on this. Water pressure, along with the cold water, will preserve a body longer. The natural gases a decomposing body releases will cause it to bloat, which will then cause it to rise to the surface. This usually does not happen in large bodies of water like a large lake or the ocean. The water pressure prevents the gases in decomposing bodies to build up, and the microbial process will cause the body tissues to convert to adipocere, best explained as a waxy, soap-like tissue. When the feet were recovered from the Salish Sea, that's exactly what was found. These bones were covered in adipocere, meaning the body sunk, and stayed at the bottom of the ocean as it decomposed. Due to this, it was concluded that the rest of the bodies were stuck at the bottom of wherever it sank. However, not only do dead bodies decompose in the ocean, they're also picked apart by deep-sea creatures. Bottom feeders will eat away at the soft tissue, especially around the ankles. What's left of the body will slowly sink deeper and deeper to its final resting place, but the feet are what floats up to the surface, with the help of buoyant sneakers like ones that are manufactured post-2000s. Shoes like Nike will float up to the surface easily due to the air pockets in them. The shoe that was first discovered on Jedediah Island was found to have been manufactured, and no pun intended, sold solely in India. Investigators were able to piece together some information, such as testing the shoes and determining the brand, manufacture date, and location. This gave them a lead as to when they were bought and worn, allowing them to narrow down the list of potential identities. The British Columbia Coroner Service combed through the database containing more than 500 missing persons to compare the DNA from the feet. Investigators were able to link almost all of the feet that were discovered to missing people. 9 of the feet matched up to 7 people. The Coroner Service has stated that none of the feet that belonged to Canadians were a result of murders, and many of the cases were accidents or suicides. As for the US cases, police couldn't rule anything out, and all possibilities of what happened are on the table. So what is it today? Well, as of 2022, 21 human feet have washed up in British Columbia and Washington. The following is a quick rundown of the feet that have been found to date. So on August 20th, 2007, foot number 1, a right foot, was found on Jedediah Island in a blue and white mesh running shoe. DNA analysis linked this foot to a man that went missing in 2004, and he was believed to have suffered from depression. Then on August 26, 2007, foot number 2, a right foot, was found on Gabriola Island. Waterlogged, the shoe was most likely brought to shore by an animal. DNA analysis linked this foot to a male that went missing in 2006. Then on February 8, 2008, foot number 3, a right foot, was found on Gabriola Island. DNA analysis identified this foot belonging to a Surrey man reported missing in 2004. Additionally, it was confirmed to be a match to foot number 5. May 22, 2008, foot number 4. A woman's right foot was found in the Fraser River near Richmond, BC. It was wearing a sock and a New Balance sneaker. It was identified as a missing woman who jumped off a bridge in 2004. DNA analysis matched this foot to foot number 7. On June 16, 2008, foot number 5 was found, a male's left foot, found in the Fraser River. It was confirmed that this foot was an exact match to foot number 3, found in February of 2008. On August 1, 2008, foot number 6, a male's right foot in a black sneaker was found by a camper near Pisht, Washington, less than 16 kilometers, approximately 10 miles, from the international border. This shoe also contained bones and flesh and was assumed to have washed down from Canada. November 11, 2008, foot number 7. Another woman's left foot was found near Kirkland Island in a New Balance sneaker. DNA profiling matched this foot to foot number 4, found on May 22. October 27, 2009, foot number 8. A right foot was found in the Fraser River near Richmond, BC. DNA analysis linked this foot to a male that went missing in 2008. August 27, 2010. Foot number 9, a small left foot, possibly a young woman or a child, was found in Whidbey Island, Washington. Detectives were able to conclude that the foot remained in the water for 2 months. It was then tested for DNA, however, there was no match found in the database. December 5, 2010. Foot number 10. A boy's size 6 hiking boot was found near a trail in Tacoma, Washington. August 30, 2011. Foot number 11. A men's size 9 running shoe was found in the marina in Falls Creek, BC. It was still attached to the tibia and fibula. November 4, 2011. Foot number 12. A man's right foot was found inside a hiking boot near Summit Lake, Port Moody, BC. In January 2012, it was identified as belonging to a fisherman who went missing in 1987. And now this is where it gets a little bit uneasy. On December 10, 2011, foot number 13, a human leg and a foot were found under the Ship Canal Bridge in Seattle, Washington. To date, this body has not been identified. January 26, 2012, foot number 14, Human bones inside a boot were found along the shore in a Vancouver, BC dog park. May 6, 2014, foot number 15. A human foot in a men's size 10.5 white New Balance sneaker was found near Pier 86 in Seattle, Washington. February 7, 2016, foot number 16. A left foot was found on Botanical Beach near Port Renfrew on Vancouver Island. Anthropological and circumstantial analysis linked this foot to foot 17. February 12, 2016, foot number 17. A right foot washed up on Botanical Beach near Port Renfrew, Vancouver Island. The BC Coroner Service said it matches the one found in the same location 5 days prior. December 8, 2017, foot number 18. Remains of a leg and a left foot in a black running shoe on Jordan River in Vancouver, BC was found. May 6, 2018, foot number 19. A man walking the shores of Gabriola Island, BC, found a hiking boot with a human foot inside. In September 2018, foot number 20. A foot inside a men's size 9.5 light gray Nike Free running shoe was found near a beach access point in West Vancouver, BC. And the most recent foot discovery being in 2019 on Jetty Island in Everett, Washington. Through DNA testing and forensic analysis, it was found to have belonged to Antonio Neal, a man who was missing since December of 2016. These are the ones that have been discovered and were brought to the authorities, but there may be countless others just floating aimlessly in the ocean. And so now, only one question really remains. What was so special about the Salish Sea that so many feet ended up in that general area? One explanation is that the Salish Sea can be compared to a lagoon, where water flows in from the Pacific Ocean, from the south, northward, into the Salish Sea. And once stuff goes in there, it basically recirculates, and it doesn't come back out very often. The Salish Sea is basically the perfect location for feet to turn up. Additionally, the direction of the winds in the area are westerlies, meaning that they help bring in debris from the ocean rather than pushing it out. This events alone, has taught us that no matter how much we know and find out about the ocean, we may never truly know the mysteries that lie deep within the waters.